Rabbi Amy Small. I was ordained from the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College in 1987. I have served as a congregational rabbi. I have taught Jewish education, also served as a Jewish educator, and I've been the president of the Reconstructionist Rabbinical Association. I'm pleased to answer questions about continuing rabbinic education, and I have been the great beneficiary of a number of programs. I've participated in Rabbis Without Borders. I've participated in the Shalom Hartman Institute Rabbinic Torah Seminar, and I am a graduate of the Rabbinic Leadership Institute of the Shalom Hartman Institute. I've also engaged in Israel education. Part of my ongoing continuing rabbinic education has been through Makom, a project of the Jewish Agency in Israel. And I've participated in many conferences that were short-term programs for continuing rabbinic education. So most recently, I've spent time in Israel at the Shalom Hartman Institute and with Rabbis Without Borders as my primary continuing education, in addition to my many years involved in the Reconstructionist Rabbinical Association. I participate in annual conferences for each of those. If I were to say why I choose to participate in these programs, I would say that over the course of my career and my own development, the answers have sometimes shifted depending on where I was. In my first position, I was the solo practitioner, the only rabbi in the entire area, and so I needed the connection with my community. I needed to have connection with other rabbis. But the more I participated with my colleagues, the more I came to appreciate how important it is to learn from each other, to have a place to do problem solving and brainstorming, and to generate the creative ideas that can only come about when we sit together as colleagues. I have gravitated towards pluralistic programs. Early in my career, I participated actively in CAGE, the Coalition for Alternatives in Jewish Education, and that was the launch of my career. Later in my career, of course, the programs through the Shalom Hartman Institute and Klal have been important in my ongoing development. So I would say at this stage in my career, I have many local colleagues. I live in a richly Jewish geographic area, and I don't need to find colleagues when I go to conferences, as I did many years ago as a young rabbi. But I find the experience of learning keeps my rabbinate alive. And so the content of the conferences and training programs that I've participated in the last several years has been very important for me. It has given me a way to frame the dramatic changes happening in the Jewish community today, and to look at the possible ways that I could shift my thinking, my ideas, and my delivery of service to meet these changing needs. And I have to say that as the Jewish community has gone through so much change in the last decade in particular, I don't know what I would have done if I had not had a place for learning, for being able to return to some of the classical texts that I learned in rabbinical school, but to study them with other colleagues in an environment where we were sharing ideas. And so it's been nourishment for the development of my leadership as a rabbi. The pluralistic setting has been extremely important to me because it takes me out of my usual comfort zone into a new place where there's a different kind of comfort zone, a sharing across lines of organizational affiliation and political alignment that we might feel in the homes of our own individual streams in Judaism, and even away from our local communities where we have the ongoing work of daily life. Continuing rabbinic education is really important because it keeps our creative juices alive, but it also gives us an ongoing respect for our colleagues. And this can be really essential, especially given the competitive nature of Jewish affiliation that I experience in so many places in the Jewish world. If my colleagues and I are going to be in competition with each other, seeking not only charitable dollars but also participants in our programs, we may as well do it with good spirit and tremendous respect and understanding of each other. And then that competition leads to collaboration, and it offers us opportunity for partnership that we might not have envisioned. So continuing rabbinic education has, for me, been a tool and an environment for being able to cross lines that seem to sometimes be drawn very firmly across the different parts of the Jewish world. And so I walk back and forth through all these different places very naturally because of these programs. The greatest challenge for continuing rabbinic education for me is the financial impact of travel and conference participation, registration, and so on. It can be expensive. In the congregational rabbinate, some of us have very generous packages that include lots of opportunity for these conferences financially, but not all of us do, and in fact many of us do not. And so I would love to see greater funding for continuing rabbinic education, and funding that doesn't only support rabbis in large or wealthy congregations. Of course, the second is time. And that's a resource that is really up to us to juggle. But having understanding lay leaders and other participants in our planning processes in our work really can help with that, so that people understand how important it is for them that we continue to learn as rabbis, and we bring it back to the work we do with them, which means a certain understanding that we're not always available and that we do need these opportunities as part of our rabbinic work to step back from the moment, from the tasks, and to go and learn with our colleagues. And this enriches everything that we do in our communities.